everyone, this is Megan with Cooking on Caffeine, and today we are going to be making the easiest vegan buttercream that you have ever seen. Okay, so to get started, we need to know what our ingredients are. So to make our vegan buttercream, we are going to be using vegan butter. Now I use these Country Crock plant butter sticks because number one, they're really amazing, and no, they don't pay me to say that. I buy these myself at the store and I am just a huge fan. So Country Crock has this plant butter which is vegan. It does have palm oil, but it is certified sustainable palm oil, and it also comes in cardboard boxes and paper, so there's no plastic involved here, which makes me feel a little bit better about it. But the great thing about this Country Crock plant butter is that it behaves just like dairy butter does, and it tastes pretty darn close to it also. So when I make buttercream with this butter, usually nobody can tell that it's vegan. So you're going to want to get 2 sticks of your Country Crock plant butter, or Earth Balance will work also. This recipe works with either this or the Earth Balance, or if you can find another vegan butter, vegan margarine that has close to an 80% fat content, the Country Crock does. So this works without needing to cut it with any shortening or chocolate or anything to firm it up. That's why I like this also, and what makes it the easiest buttercream ever. So I'm going to be using the Country Crock. Now if you need to cut with shortening, or if you don't have access to this or shortening, I will add a couple of notes in the recipe for you for substitutions that you can use. Or if you're allergic to any of the ingredients in the Country Crock, let me know and I can help figure something out for you. But for today, this is what we're using. And then our next ingredient is powdered sugar. It's a little bit difficult in the vegan baking world when it comes to sugar in the United States. A lot of people don't know that most sugar in the States is actually filtered with bone char, which renders the product not vegan anymore. What that means is the charcoal filter that they put the sugar through in order to make it bright white, it is made out of incinerated animal bones. Other countries use like bamboo char, coconut char, things like that, but the United States still mainly uses the bone char. So in order to avoid that, you can find a sugar that is labeled as being bone char free. Zulka is a really good one. It's actually the granulated sugar that I use in all of my bakes. It has a wonderful taste to it. It's a nice light brown color, but it's still white granulated sugar. It just hasn't been filtered through bone char. Another way that you can avoid that is organic sugar. So organic sugar has not been put through bone char, and it is usually made with tapioca starch in it instead of cornstarch. So it's a great option for those of you out there that are avoiding corn or just don't like to consume it. If you're avoiding GMOs, things like that, you're gonna wanna go with the organic powdered sugar. Another option is, I just found this in my store yesterday and I am so excited. Beet sugar has also not been put through bone char. They don't need to refine it the same way that cane sugar needs to be refined. So if you can find beet sugar, then that is going to be vegan for you. However, most beets are made with GMO beets. So if you are avoiding GMOs, go with the organic. But I'm going to be using the beet sugar. So I'm gonna put this back. And you're gonna want your stand mixer, by the way, to make it the easiest vegan buttercream because it's going to do all the work for you. Makes it a lot easier. If you do not have a stand mixer, it'll work perfectly fine if you have a large mixing bowl and a hand mixer. So this is listed as one of my ingredients for the easiest buttercream ever. If you have the hand mixer, it's still going to be easy, just not as easy. So I've got my stand mixer and a paddle attachment, and we're going to be using 2 sticks of butter, 4 cups of powdered sugar, and you're going to want 1 to 2 tablespoons of liquid. This can be your favorite vegan milk. I love using vanilla almond milk. I also love using vegan protein shakes, work really well in it, nice and creamy. If you want to use a coffee creamer, if you want to use a vegan half and half, if you want to use juice, if you want to use coffee, as long as it's a liquid, it's going to help loosen it up and make it a little bit more pipeable for you. So the ratio for me is going to be 1 part butter in terms of cups to 2 parts powdered sugar. So 1 to 2 to 1 in terms of tablespoons. So today we're going to be using, or sorry, that wasn't cups, sticks, my bad. So 2 sticks of butter, 4 cups of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons of liquid. And today I'm going to be using lime juice. And I don't add any salt normally to the buttercream unless I'm doing like a salted caramel, or today I'm going to be doing like Mexican lime, and I'm going to add a little bit of chili and salt to it. But that's because vegan butter comes salted. I've never seen an unsalted version. So I'm not adding any extra butter to it. I know that's a little bit long-winded, but that's our intro. So that's what we're going to do today. So we are going to pop open our mixer here. This goes to my large mixer. Let me switch this out. Okay, here we go. Right size paddle attachment for my mixer. The other one was for the big blue back there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my paddle right here on my mixer. I wanted to get out of the way, so let me, still in the way. That's better. Okay, so like I said, super duper easy. We're just going to open up our butter. Remember it, we're doing 2 sticks of butter, and this is gonna make about, I wanna say 2.5 cups of buttercream, which is enough for my 6-inch cake. There's 1 stick. This is great. This country crop plant butter is nice and soft yet firm at room temperature, just like dairy butter. And it's not yellow colored like a lot of vegan butters are. So it's pretty darn wonderful. Here. I'm gonna try to cut this open without making a gigantic mess, which probably is not gonna happen. Oh, I might have done it, you guys. Oh, that was close. Okay, so I'm gonna open this. I wanna just scoop it out so I don't make that big of a mess. If you live in a really super humid area, you might want to sift your sugar either into the mixing bowl or into a separate bowl to add into the mixing bowl. It might make your life a little bit easier. Got myself enough room. Okay, so this is a 1/2 cup measuring cup. I've got 1 cup of powdered sugar in here so far, and I'm going to add it. There's 1, Make sure I tighten that bowl before I knock it on the floor. Two cups. And I'm gonna go ahead and get this mixing on low stir, whatever you wanna call it, the lowest setting on the mixer, so I don't make a giant cloud of powdered sugar. And it is going to combine the butter and the powdered sugar. And it's going to look a bit gravelly. Turn it up a little bit. And then it's going to turn into kind of a dough. I'll show you what it looks like here. You can see it's all stuck to the paddle attachment there. Make sure it doesn't fall. So it's pretty wet still. We got room for some more powdered sugar in there. And normally, you guys, I eyeball this, but apparently I'm one of the few people in the world that can eyeball stuff like this, and a lot of you guys have commented and complained to me that my eyeballing recipes don't work for you. So I'm trying to do measurements. So there's my third cup. Make sure I tightened that, I did. Third cup of powdered sugar. I'm gonna go on stir just until it's combined. And keeping it on stir and not turning it up to medium or high is going to also prevent bubbles from forming in your buttercream, and it's going to give you a smoother finish on your cake, if that's the sort of thing that matters to you. So you can see it's all combined. We don't have any powdered sugar down in there anywhere now. It's all combined with the butter. So we're going to do our final cup of powdered sugar. And by final, I mean final for the written recipe. If you live in a really humid area, or if you're adding any extra liquid to your buttercream, you're going to be adding more powdered sugar. So 4 cups to 2 sticks of butter is kind of the baseline. You may need to add more. Just keep that in mind. So I'm gonna add in my 4th cup. And I'm gonna go on stir. Lots of powdered sugar. Okay, I'm gonna move this guy out of the way. But he's gonna be on standby because we're probably gonna need a little bit more. So you can see here, let me bring it closer to you so you can actually see. The butter and the powdered sugar is combined into a very stiff, it's almost like a cookie dough kind of texture. And that's what we're wanting right now, because once we add the liquid, it's gonna loosen it up a lot. So like I said, you can add 2 tablespoons or more if you feel like it of liquid to this. 2 is the guideline. It's gonna give you a nice pipeable buttercream, a nice smooth buttercream. If you want a crusting buttercream, you can add another tablespoon if you want, and then make up for the the loose texture, stiffen it up with a little bit of extra powdered sugar, and it'll work fine for you. I'm actually going to be, like I said, adding lime juice to mine for my spicy, it's more of like a Mexican flavored cake that I do, my mangonada cake. It's a mango cake in the middle, and then the buttercream is lime, chili, and salt. So I use fresh lime juice, and then I add a little bit of my Mexican chili for fruit in there. Roll my limes, try and release some of those juices. So I've got 3 limes here. I never know if the limes are going to have a lot of juice or not. Hey, you guys can see what I'm doing in the reflection of my bowl. So that's kind of cool. Let me go ahead and cut that in half. Pretty sure I'm gonna need at least 2, so let me go ahead and cut this guy. I got a bowl here and my handy dandy squeezer, so I don't get any seeds in there. Like I said, I'm going for 2 tablespoons. So I might just get 2 tablespoons right out of this lime. And I can make myself a glass of limeade with the other ones. Yep, looking pretty darn good. Okay. So, got fresh squeezed lime juice, and I'm going to add that right in. We're gonna start on low. I'm gonna actually lock down the top this time because he's wanting to jump all over the place. Starting on low. Just so we don't splash up a bunch of lime juice. Let me show you what the texture is like now. Unlock. So it's a little bit smoother. We don't have the big clumps, and it's not like a big ball of dough anymore. Smoothed it out nicely for us. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit higher. Just to about medium. And I do that to fling all the bits of butter off of the paddle attachment. Just to make sure it all gets fully incorporated. Okay. And it looks like buttercream. Da 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 da. Oh, there's a little bit that didn't fling off. Get in there. Okay. Ignoring that one little piece. Look at how beautiful our buttercream is. Try and get a little bit of shadow in there so it's not just blinding white for you. Nice, smooth, spreadable, pipeable, wonderful buttercream. Let me get a spatula so I can show you a little bit. And a little mini spatula. You can get an idea. How spreadable it is. Let me bring the camera over so you can see. Okay, so right here you can see how silky smooth and spreadable this is. Now you can adjust this with more liquid if you want, add a little bit of more powdered sugar to stiffen it. But as it is, it's very smooth, perfect for piping, for smoothing, for spreading, for putting in macarons, whatever you want to do. So yeah, let me put you back up. Okay, we got you back up on the stand. So this is perfect for what I'm going to use it for. But I am going to go ahead and run the mixer on slow, on stir speed for about 10 minutes. And you can do this for up to 30 or 40 minutes. After you've mixed everything, turn it on stir and just let it go. And what that's going to do is it's going to eliminate all of those little bubbles that are in your buttercream. If you're making a cake and you're trying to smooth the edges and you keep seeing a bunch of little bubbles and it sounds like a hamster version of bubble wrap with all the bubbles popping, you can pop it in your mixer with the paddle attachment and turn it on slow or on stir, and it's gonna pop all of those bubbles for you as it swipes the buttercream along the sides of your bowl. So that's what I'm gonna do with mine, just to get rid of any bubbles and make my final product look smooth and beautiful and refined. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so the buttercream has been mixing on stir speed in the stand mixer for about 10 minutes now, and it's looking pretty darn silky smooth in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off, and I'm gonna bring you over to take a look. Okay, so here we go. Can you see how beautiful that is? It's super smooth. Bloop, just fall right down. And like I said, if you need to stiffen this up, if you're gonna be making like buttercream roses or really intricate textured designs with your buttercream, you can definitely add some more powdered sugar to it. Let me lock the focus for you so you can see the gorgeous texture. Probably could go another 10 or 15 minutes to get this absolutely smooth in there. But in the meantime, it's looking pretty darn nice. And that's it. That is our super duper easy vegan buttercream. Easiest one, most delicious you'll ever make. Set up where you were. That's pretty good, right? Okay, so there you go. Easiest vegan buttercream ever. Super smooth, delicious. Nobody's gonna know that it's vegan. It's just wonderful in every way. Now there are a couple steps that I didn't do here just because of this flavor that I'm making. And I want to cover those. And the first one is going to be vanilla. 99.999% of the time, you're going to want to add vanilla to your buttercream. You're going to go ahead and add that with whatever liquid you are adding. So if you're going to be using milk, if you're going to use coffee, in this case I used the lime juice, go ahead and add your vanilla with that. And for a recipe this size, I usually use about a teaspoon of good quality vanilla. You can always taste test. If you want more vanilla, toss in another teaspoon. If you don't like vanilla at all, just use something else. Like here, I use the lime juice. Vanilla doesn't really go with this flavor profile of cake that I'm making, so I left it out, but you are more than welcome to add it. Also, food coloring. You can add food coloring along with the liquid. I recommend using gels. You can use liquid coloring, but go ahead and add it with the liquid. So whatever liquid you're using, if you're using your milk and your vanilla and all of that, go ahead and add a couple of drops of your food coloring with that, and then you can adjust it later. And then as far as using shortening, if you don't have access to the good fat content of the vegan butter of the Country Crock or the Earth Balance, I am going to be doing another video on that, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button on this video so you can get a notification when that comes out. I'm going to show you how I use vegan spread, which is more of like a 40 to 50% usually fat content, really high in water content, and it makes the buttercream too soft if you use that exclusively to do your buttercream. So I cut 50% shortening, 50% spread. The only problem with the shortening is it leaves a really greasy, waxy, kind of gross texture in your mouth when you eat it, but I have a hack to make that not so, and I'll be making the video to post hopefully in the next week. So go ahead and, like I said, subscribe to the channel if you don't have access to a good fat content margarine and need to cut it with veggie shortening. And I have a few, like I said, hacks for if you're trying to avoid specific ingredients. So if you're wanting to avoid, you know, the corn, if you're wanting to avoid palm oil, if you're wanting to avoid any of the ingredients in here, let me know. And I'm going to be compiling a list of alternative ingredients that you can use in here. Now, what can you use this buttercream for? Covering cakes, filling macarons, cookie sandwiches. I even put the buttercream in little containers, and in my bakery I sold them as frosting shots. They're really good right out of the freezer. It's kind of like ice cream. If you're a cottage baker like I am and you're not allowed to sell things that need to be refrigerated or frozen like ice cream, the frosting shots are really great on a hot day for kids, and it's just a small little serving. Moms love it. I sell them for $2 a pop. So with that said, thanks for tuning in, and now you know how to make the easiest vegan buttercream in the world. Thanks, guys. See you next time.